Yeah, let's sit down. Welcome everyone. Most wonderful Bhante Rahula and wonderful sirs and dear friends in the Dhamma. A warm welcome again to each and every one of you for participating in this special meditation retreat. First of all, I would like to welcome our meditation teacher. So today we are so blessed to have Bhante Yoga Vachara Rahula with us. So we invited Bhante to come here and conduct this annual meditation retreat. And Bhante Rahul is not actually a new to Pittsburgh Buddhist Center. When we were in Natrona Heights, and he used to come every year there to conduct a meditation retreat. Of course, during COVID period, we didn't have in-person retreat, but he was still help us to conduct meditation retreats remotely, online retreats. And then once we moved this new place, then he was willing to come. And last year he came this new place, and this time also he was very kind to come and help us. So Bhante Rahula is one of the most, I would say, one of the most experienced meditation master in the Theravada tradition, living in the US. He has long experiences in meditation and guidance, and so it is such a privilege and such an honor to have him around here, actually, in the East Coast, because he's originally from the West Coast. But he decided to live in the East Coast, so we get the opportunity to learn from him, and he's also invited to so many places. But so we every year, usually at the beginning of the year, I secured this weekend for us. So we are so glad that this year also he's with us. And Bhante Rahul has been teaching meditation in Bhavana Society, West Virginia, for a number of years, and he helped Bhante ji to build that monastery and develop that monastery into a very important forest monastery in the northern America. And then now he's actually director at the Alliance of Wisdom of Panyasi Meditation Center in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And today he came all the way from there. I also want to thank Chamal for bringing him from all the way there. It is about a 4-hour drive, so they arrived at about an hour before. So again, it's such a great privilege. Bhante, thank you very much again for accepting our invitation and willing to share a few days with us and guiding and helping to all of our with our uh, people here. And so Bhante, I'm sure that you all will really learn and you will improve your practice definitely. And Bhante, you can ask any questions during the Q&A sessions, and he will definitely guide us to improve our practice and engage in a very fruitful few days. So, with deep respect, Bhante, let us all first of all welcome and invite Bhante to start the retreat. So, put your palms together with deep gratitude and reverence. Let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Pittsburgh Buddhist Vihara, for inviting me to come and share the Dhamma with you again here. This wonderful center. We see the hands of those who did not come to the program that I was giving here last year. Just raise your hand. More than half of you were not here last year. Or how many people have not heard been to any of my in-person teachings before? First time for everything. Okay. So anyway, before we get more into it, we're going to, as standard tradition, take the refuges and the 8 precepts, what I call the Eightfold Path precepts. Now, these are not the 8 precepts that you follow when you go to the Bhavana Society and they tell you, not eating after noon and some things like that. So this is the Eightfold Path precepts, or which Bhante Gunaratana calls lifetime precepts. But those are the standard guidelines that all laypersons should follow according to the Noble Eightfold Path. Anyway, so I think you all have a copy of that with you. But first, we're just going to start with the second paragraph down, the Namo Tassa. We're going to recite that 3 times. Then I'm going to, line by line, go through the precepts, and you repeat the line by line afterwards. So together we can recite the Namo Tassa all together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. Tassa sambuddhassa. Bandam Sarangaccha Dhammam Sarangaccha Sangam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami. Recite by yourselves those eightfold path precepts that you can read on your paper in English. So try to do that as a group if you can. Okay, so friends, how many of you have not been on a kind of a retreat like this before? Now, the reason why we start the retreat by taking the 3 refuges and those precepts, because it sort of sets the tone or the frame of mind for what it is we're actually coming here to do in terms of coming to a meditation retreat. Now, taking refuge in the Buddha, there's 2 levels. Whenever you hear things in the Dhamma, there's always 2 levels of what you're hearing. So in one level, the refuge in the Buddha refers to the external Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha that attained enlightenment and taught the Dhamma. So we're going to refuge in his teaching, basically, because he passed away 2,500 years ago. So basically, we're taking refuge in the Dhamma. But so there's one level, the external Buddha. But on the other level, what I call the internal Buddha, or is it the enlightenment that the Buddha attained, or the wisdom that the Buddha understood in his teaching, and the experience of Nibbana is a potential for every person to also reach if they practice. And so it refers to a state of mind rather than the person. Even the Buddha told people, the Buddha is not this body. Whoever sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. Whoever sees the Buddha sees the Dhamma. So that's what it's referring to. The inner Buddha is realizing the subtler truths, and especially the deeper levels of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, and the potential for liberation that's there beneath our, confused or erratic mind. So anyway, And so in coming to a retreat, that's actually the meaning of taking refuge in the Buddha, is that we're acknowledging that even though we might not have a direct understanding of it or experience of it now, that that level of awareness or that deeper, subtler level of awareness and mental freedom is always there, just underneath our confused mind. So, and the Dhamma is, what we're practicing, the practices of meditation, practices of the Noble Eightfold Path, and all the other things that we're going to be talking about in the retreat, and keeping noble silence as much as possible, practicing meditation, moving mindfully, and so on, are all sort of the external Dhamma or the suttas and the talks that you hear, the Dhamma teachings. But the internal Dhamma is actually the subtler levels of consciousness and awareness that you're hopefully would reach in the process of that meditation. So taking refuge in actually, what the Buddha was talking about. And then the Sangha, usually when you say Sangha to most Buddhists, they say, yeah, it's the ordained Sangha, monks and nuns, right? But in the case of a retreat like this, and in the West normally, that's expanded to include, the people that are, have committed their lives to practice, or in this sense, even all of you who have come together for this weekend. You left your home situation behind to come to spend 10 or 12 hours the next couple of days here. So we're like our own little Sangha here that we help to support each other. And so in that way, whether you think you're taking the refuges or not, or wanted to or not, the fact that you just came here by default, you're taking refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here. So anyway, just to sort of set that understanding. And then those precepts, the practice of the Dhamma is basically the whole practice of Dhamma, as we'll talk about more later, but is about learning how to overcome negative or harmful states of mind that bring us problems and suffering, and to cultivate wholesome states of mind. So all these 8 precepts are about, letting go of or 4 of them are about speech. So letting go of a useless type of or a harmful type of speech, as well as the other normal sort of precepts. So all of that helps to focus our attention on what we're going to do. Now, I want to give a little outline on the practice. Now, I know there just said the meditation retreat. It didn't give too many details about that. But, and when people hear about meditation, especially, connected with the Buddhism, they're thinking about this, sitting still and focusing and concentrating their minds. Try to attain some degree of concentration or awareness, and so on, that they might have read about or heard about, or hear about the benefits of meditation, especially mindfulness is very popular nowadays. And so, they think it's about, gaining, using meditation, mindfulness to overcome their neurosis or various other types of physical or mental problems, overcoming stress. They're using it in hospitals and so on. But anyway, so the practice of the meditation. But one of the specialties, you might say, of the way that I introduce and teach meditation is to incorporate some certain practices of yoga to help support the meditation. And normally Buddhists don't talk much about the yoga because they think it belongs to Hinduism and is something that shouldn't be practiced. So that's kind of a misunderstanding, but slowly that's changing. But anyway, so in my own practice, when I was a young monk, almost 48 years ago, in India, I started practicing yoga and meditation at the same time, pretty much. And I found that the practices of yoga helped me to meditate. And for those of you that are familiar with yoga, part of the Yogic Eightfold Path, before going into deeper meditation, is practicing asana and pranayama, which means basically the yoga exercises to help to be able to sit for longer periods of time in a meditation posture, and focusing on the breathing. So that's mentioned a little bit by the Buddha, but not into the extent that within the yoga system we do that. So, and one of the biggest problems to learn meditation, or the three main hindrances to being able to develop mindfulness and concentration, are the worst one is drowsiness or sleepiness. The second one is, incessant thinking, which includes worrying and desires and aversion and all the whole gamut of kind of thoughts. And pain, being disturbed by pains that come up after you've sat for 15, 20 minutes and so on. You start getting pains in different parts of the body, and so those distract the mind. So sleepiness, incessant thinking, and pain are how many people ever have problems with that? Anybody? So, and probably one of the biggest reasons for that, or a major contributor to that, is that the body may not be flexible enough. It may not be having enough proper circulation, and also that people's breath is short and shallow, so that the body is not really getting enough sort of life force. Because this body has is it many billions, or even, is it a trillion now? Trillion cells or more? The human body? Any doctors? Come on. Okay. So they all require oxygen, right? Well, any doctor will tell you that the average person breathes only 1/10 of their lung capacity in normal breathing. And nature, or God, or whatever you want to call it, let's call it nature, built the lungs for a certain size and for a certain reason. This body is pretty much perfectly proportioned when it was born, due to evolution and other factors. Everything was made precisely in certain sizes for the weight of the body, the size of the body, because it needs that. So therefore, most people have short and shallow breathing, and that's why that's a big contributor to low energy, and also for pains, as well as for getting lost in your thoughts, because breathing is so short and shallow that it's not enough to hold a person's attention. So anyway, all of these three kind of hindrances can be sort of at least minimized, not totally overcome, but at least minimized by doing certain types of stretching, as well as deep, slow breathing, at least in the beginning, before you start to meditate. On a regular basis, of course, overall for general health, but especially just before you sit to meditate, if you do a session of 10 or 15 minutes of some this kind of breathing and stretching. It helps to generate more sensation in the body. And it also helps you to get centered in the body. Because the body basically is our connection to the present moment. And normally our mind is going back and forth between the past and the future. And it's rarely ever pausing or stopping in the present moment. Or if it does stop in the present moment, it starts going to sleep, or just totally lost in your daydreams, fantasies, or whatever else it might be, but not being alert and awake. So therefore, doing that kind of stretching and deep breathing in the beginning helps to get the mind centered in the body and also connected more sort of directly or dynamically to the breathing process. So that when you sit down, it's like you're already there. You've already been doing that for 10 or 15 minutes. And it would have hopefully energized the body and the mind a bit and give you something more than to start concentrating. So anyway, that's just a brief little overview of sort of the kind of one of the aspects of the retreat. So we're going to be, having a little session of yoga before most of the meditation sessions, and then we're going to be practicing, mindfulness of the body. So the main sort of the big first part of meditation. Anybody who's read the teachings of the Buddha on mindfulness understand that the first foundation of mindfulness is mindfulness of the body. There's different aspects of that if you read it, but the reason is that the body is really this body is the home for our mind. If we want to get a hold of our mind, because that's suffering, the ultimate source of suffering is deep within our mind, greed, hatred, and delusion. But we can't easily see that and access that because the roots of those things are deep in the nervous system, deep in the cellular vibrations, even of the body and the brain. So that's why most people cannot really see them clearly and get totally lost and carried away in them because they don't have that kind of awareness. So by learning how to get grounded and centered in the body, you're closer to where the action is. That means you're closer to where pains are arising, where thoughts are arising, where distractions are arising. And so you can hopefully see them sooner before you've been totally carried away by them. So anyway, the body acts as the entryway to the mind, because the mind again is operating through the subtler nervous system. In fact, one of the most important phrases of the Buddha, one of my favorite ones, was that the world, the arising of the world, the ceasing of the world, and the path leading to the ceasing of the world is right within this 5 or 6 foot long body with its nervous system, memory, and consciousness. And so by first getting grounded and centered in the body, it's like getting a front row seat in the movies. Or getting into going up through the balcony and getting a balcony seat where you can watch the body just sitting and breathing. And then you can start seeing more clearly its mental activities and how it easily gets distracted and developing the mindfulness and concentration. But anyway, again, that's just a short little description of that. And so we're going to be practicing in the sitting position as well as standing and walking. Hardly any place ever teaches you to do standing meditation. emphasis is always sitting, walking, sitting, walking. What about standing? Standing is the connection between sitting and walking, right? But people just, they jump up from sitting, start walking. No, you got to stand up. Don't rush to the future. Stand up, stand, present moment. And then mindfully see the desire to walk, and then mindfully start walking. So the standing position is very important. So every time I say, when I'm going to say, okay, now we're going to, I never say we're going to do walking now because people will just stand up and start walking. Sitting, standing, and walking. And even while walking, sometimes we'll just stop and stand. Because how many people stand a lot during the day? You ever thought you could meditate while standing? Well, some of you maybe have, but normally people don't. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. So anyway, so during the retreat, we're going to be practicing that. And so before we're going to have as part of the session tonight, we're going to have do a practical experience of that, just to give you a little taste of that will be repeating several times over during the retreat. Now again, let me see the hands of those who are kind of fairly new to meditation or haven't done much meditation before. There's still a few like that. So, so doing the exercise and the breathing also is a way to help to gradually get into that habit of learning how to keep your attention sort of on the body in the present moment. So basically, we use the breathing and body. Now, I say breathing body. That's a term I like to use rather than some people say, "Oh, I just watch the breathing." Other people say, "Oh, I just watch the body." How can you separate them? The breathing body. The breath is constantly moving throughout the whole body. So that's a term that you'll hear me probably use a lot, the breathing body. And the idea is to be able to have that awareness of sort of the outline of the body. And then with the breathing is there in the middle. The middle, the rib cage. But around it, there's so many billions of other cells too, and they're all vibrating. So awareness is a little bit different than just concentrating. And also one of the things that we'll be learning is, the difference between concentration and awareness, or concentration and mindfulness. And a lot of people, in the Buddhist world, the world of meditation, there's some people that say, "Oh, I just teach the jhana retreats," or people that say, "I just teach mindfulness retreats," as they were something different. But I don't regard them as being different. It's a process that's involved. So anyway, that's also one of the things that hopefully we'll try to understand, during the course of the retreat. So having said that much, I'd like to see if any of you have any questions I'd like to ask. Don't be shy.
Was Buddha aware when he sits under the fig tree for 49 days? Does he know he's going to reach enlightenment? Was that his goal? Was there anybody in the Hindu religion before him got enlightened, so he aimed the same way?
Of course, his goal was to attain enlightenment, definitely. That's his whole goal for living the prince life, to seek enlightenment.
So there is somebody ahead of him then enlightened, so he know what he is getting, what he's going to be.
Well, it's complicated. Now, during the Buddha's day, when he left the palace to seek enlightenment, he first went to the recognized ascetic teachers of the day who were in the area. And they were basically Brahmin type of ascetics, monks, but following the Vedic sort of standard idea about Brahman and the soul, or there's so many different ideas. So the Buddha went there and listened to them, also practiced their forms of meditation, but realized that it didn't really bring him any real enlightenment. It might have brought him, a lot of ecstatic, blissful states, and you can sit in total mental silence for days on end. But when he came out, he realized he hadn't really changed too much. So he said, "Well, this can't be the way." So he didn't find anybody currently that he felt had realized the truth, because he even asked his teachers. He asked them, "Is this all you got? The arupa jhana of nothingness, the rupa jhana of infinite space, neither perception?" And they said, "Yeah." Well, so he mastered all those things, but yet it's not really what I'm looking for. And that's why he went off by himself. Okay. So another foundation of the teachings of the Dhamma, basically the Dhamma is the natural laws, especially the natural laws of the mind and how the mind interacts with the world. And so, even though people regard the Buddha as being a great spiritual teacher, to me, he was the greatest scientist. He had a scientific attitude toward the Dhamma. And he used his body as a laboratory, and he used his mind as the electron microscope or the microscope. And so by sitting down in the body and peering down the microscope, which is concentrated awareness, focusing your attention, he could point it to anything in the body, and holding it there long enough, you would come to understand its real nature. Like the feeling of hardness, or the feeling of fluidity, or the different pains in the body. By holding his attention there long enough, it was like turning up the power of a microscope, and he would see all the subtle aspects of that and understand their impermanence and their non-self nature, and how they trouble our mind and how the mind gets attached to them. And he also saw the law of karma. Our minds have, our actions of body, speech, and mind have their effects. So one of the important laws of nature is the law of karma. And basically, it's similar to the law of gravity. So if you throw something up, what happens? Comes down, sometimes with a big thud, right? So if you throw something out of your mouth, it goes out and through the minds and bodies of other people, goes through the ear of somebody, and that triggers off their thoughts. And it comes back in Newton's law. What did old Newton say?
Reaction is reaction.
Right. So the law of gravity and Newton's law kind of describe quite well sort of the law of karma. And if you throw something out of your body, like flipping somebody the finger, or sticking out your tongue at them or something, or worse, that could incite a reaction that comes back as a punch in the face, or even a pleasant reaction. If you say kind words to a person, they might smile and say something kind to you back, and so on. So he saw this the law of karma, how and even our thoughts are like radio waves that go out. They go through the minds of other people and can trigger off unconscious reactions that we don't even know about, and it can cause them to then harbor certain thoughts back toward us that we might not even know they're doing. Well, anyway, so the activities of body, speech, and mind, produce their painful results, but also pleasant results. And so I've already mentioned that the whole practice of Dhamma is about transforming one's negative actions that bring suffering and creating the opposite or wholesome reactions that bring less suffering and ultimately more happiness. And the only way to do that is being able to access our mind. Because all the roots of those actions, the memories of those actions, the impulses of those actions, those sankharas, are deep in the unconscious mind. And we have no way of really clearly accessing them and consciously working with them apart from developing mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, as well as following the precepts and so on. Like you took these precepts to avoid telling lies, slandering people, using harsh speech. Now people can repeat those over and over and over again. And they keep on breaking them over and over and over again because they may not be mindful. You have to see the impulse that leads to wanting to, right? Or something else. But normally we're not aware of the impulses because those impulses are coming from deep within the nervous system. And that's why they cannot be accessed without the ability to stay centered and grounded and in touch with the sort of the subtler vibrations. You can see that impulse to want to do something, and you can tell yourself, okay, relax. Not important to do that right now. And then you hopefully then can restrain yourself and not waste your energy speaking or acting in a way that will compound your problems or bring unnecessary anxiety. But again, I'm just explaining that because that's the importance of learning how to get grounded and centered in the body or in the present moment. Now, when I say the body, I'm meaning present moment. The body is the only thing that we have that's connected to the present moment. That means just remembering it. What is this body doing right now? Sitting, or breathing in, breathing out. What I call sitting in, breathing, sitting out, breathing in, sitting, breathing out, sitting. That's the basic present moment of this body. That's what it's doing, right? Now it's doing a lot of other things, but that's the container, right? And so, because everything happens through the breathing body. And again, as I mentioned, it's like getting a front row seat. When you're able to just observe, by feeling the eyes, you can almost feel like the outline of the body. You can feel kind of the head there, feel the arms, the clothing, the feet pressing the floors. And just to gaze on that is very nice feeling because it's just the present moment. And all problems are problems of the past and future. Try to think of any problem that you have and see if it's not connected to the past or future in some way. Come on, I'll give you 10 seconds. Anybody come up with a problem? Not connected to the past and the future? Maybe the pain's starting to come in your legs and we say, oh, I wish you'd stop talking quickly so we can do some yoga. So the mind is thinking about the future now. And it's not able to be relaxed in the present moment. Anyway, those are just very simple examples. So now, how many of you have not done any yoga before? Only one? Oh, so are you Pennsylvanians? Huh? Okay. And when I say yoga, what do you think of? Exercises, right? Of course, the real meaning of yoga is meditation. Despite what anybody else says, the deeper meaning of yoga is meditation. And that means merging the mind, making two things into one. That means merging the past and the future into the present moment, merging pleasure and pain into the present equanimity, merging the body and the mind into just awareness and so on. But we'll be talking about these as we go on. Any other questions? Okay, so how many want to do a little practice? Okay, then now, why don't you stand up? Slowly stand up. And if we'll take a couple minutes, if you need to use the restroom, it's a good idea to maybe go and do that. So those sensations won't be a cause for your mind. Now, it'd be a good idea if you can spread out a little bit, because we're going to be at some point moving our arms a little bit. We want to hit somebody next to you. If you can come up with, come up. If you can spread out. Too many people bunched up back there. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna just do some standing, but I want to explain a little bit about what I call deep, slow breathing. Trying to breathe by starting the breath in the lower part of the lung, and drawing the air from the lower part up through the middle to the upper part of the lungs and chest. Because the lungs have different compartments in them, and you can breathe in separately if you wanted to, but from the yogic point of view, the yogic breathing means starting the breath by using the diaphragm, drawing the air up, holding in the air a couple seconds, giving it time for all the oxygen to get out into the bloodstream, carried out to the cells so we can charge them up like charging a battery. And then feeling the breathing out slowly as well to feel that the relaxing contraction of the out breath. So we'll do more of that tomorrow's yoga class, but for now, just relax your arms at the sides. Gently close your eyes. Try to feel the eyes in the socket. Try to feel your eyeballs there in the socket. Try to feel your head balanced on top of the neck. You can feel some sensations on your face, the skin stretched over the front of the skull. And just remind yourself of standing, bringing the mind to the body. And relax your shoulders or feel your arms and hands hanging at the side. Feel the clothing touching the skin of your shoulders or arms. Feel your hands and fingers and feel the subtle pulsation, tingling sensation. Palms and fingers. Just remind yourself of standing, present moment of the body, letting go of your thoughts. Let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the feeling of standing body in front of the awareness. Now feel your feet pressing the floor. Or imagine that 100 or more pounds of body pressing the feet on the floor. Feel that hardness of pressure. And just mentally remember standing. Now let the awareness kind of come back up to the body and rest on the eyes again. Or to feel the eyes in the socket. Or to feel the eyelids stretched over the eyeball. If you can feel the subtle eye movement. From that point on the eyes, if you can feel that vague or general outline of the body, the sense of the head on top, the arms at the sides, clothing touching the skin, straight legs and feet pressing the floor. Any or all of those sensations, present moment, bodily sensation. If you can hold or feel that outline of the body in the mind's eye. Awareness is like sometimes called the third eye. You have two fleshy eyes that see the external world. The inner eye of awareness, feel the inner world of the skin. You can notice the thoughts going through the back of your mind. So hold that outline, mind's eye, standing. Repeating the word standing helps to form that perception of the body. Now begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take about 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 1 or 2 or 3 seconds. Slowly let out the breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs on the out breath. And the next in breath, hold the breath a second or 2. Slowly breathe out. Take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. You know, again, there's too many people crowded back in that corner. One or two come moving up so you can move your arms without hitting the person next to you. You'll know why in a moment. Okay, so now we're going to try to combine that breathing with these simple movements. Also come away from the wall if you're too close, so your hands don't hit the wall. Keep your arms relaxed at the side. I'm going to kind of guide you through that. You can open your eyes and observe as I lead you through these exercises. We do the movement while breathing in, holding that position for about 2 seconds, and then returning to the starting point on the out breath. Pause for a moment and then repeat each one 2 more times, 3 times altogether. If you get tired after doing it just once or twice, you can pause. Otherwise, see if you can do it 3 times, coordinating the movements with the breathing. So on the next in breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock your fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch your head back to look at the back of your hand, stretch upward. On the out breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of your head. Again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit to the arch of the lower spine. Out breath, touch the top of the head. The third time, hold the upward stretch longer. Bend back a little. Feel the sensation. Stretch up. And release the fingers. The out breath back to the side. Close your eyes. Keep feeling the body. Just try to keep feeling the outline of the body. If you can't feel that, feel the increased pulsations or tingling sensations in your hands and fingers. Any place else on the body you feel, especially in your hands and fingers. Got most of the exercise. Remember standing, the mind wandering thought. The body is always right here, just beneath your nose. 5 or 6 foot long, 100-pound more body. It'd be easy to feel. Keep repeating the word stand. And now on the next in breath, we'll lift up on the toes while raising the arms over the head in this way. Face your hands toward each other a few inches apart and stretch. On the out breath, come back down. Use the in breath to help lift up the body, blowing up the helium. Stretch. Out. Once more in. Out. Close the eyes, keep feeling the body. Feel the outline of the body, some parts of the body, sensation. Feel the clothing touching the skin. Remember standing. That present moment of the body, the breathing body. Feel the increased heartbeat. Notice that. Anytime you get lost in thoughts, recognize it as thinking. Let go of thought, coming back to the body. Keep pressing the floor, arms to the side, the eyes, supple. Any or all of them help bring the mind to the present moment. Remember that. Next, we're going to do side bend. On an in-breath, raise both arms up. Try to keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over your right side as far as you comfortably can. And keep your arms and hands parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In-breath, lift up. Pause a moment. Next out-breath, the other side. Stretch to the side. Keep repeating that out-breath. In-breath. Lift. Once more to each side, out-breath. Up. Out-breath, lower both arms. Close the eyes. Feeling, especially the hands and fingers, and increased pulsation. There's always lots of sensation. Fingers, blood in the body as you go down the arms and reach the end of the fingers, turn around, and go back. Pressure in the fingers is always stronger in other places. It's a good place to feel a sensation, present moment. Remember the body. Stand. Stand. Now we're going to do a head and neck exercise. Head turning. Try to keep your chin parallel, level to the floor. And on the in breath, turn your head to the right as far as you comfortably can. And look over your right shoulder. If you have a stiff neck, just be careful. On the out breath, turn 180 degrees back to the left, concentrating into the neck vertebrae. Left shoulder, breath back to the right. Turn your eyes further to the right to see something further behind. Out breath, lift. In right. Out left. Extend breath, let the head stop in the center. Just keep feeling the body, don't let the mind wander in thought. The eyes and the sucker. Feel the general outline of standing body. Head on top, arms at the sides, feet pressing the floor, clothing touching the skin. All those different sensations, the outline, perception, standing body. Feel those increased life force sensations. The activated cellular vibration, increased breathing and oxygen, stretching. Cells in the body dancing with joy, they got some charge. Now one more head and neck exercise. On an in-breath, lift your chin up. And on the out-breath, stretch the head backwards. Try to look up at the ceiling. In-breath, lift the head up. And then kind of jut the chin out. Press the chin to the little notch at the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae where the neck bone join the top of the spine. Repeat it in breath, chin up. Out breath, stretch the head back. In breath, lift the head. Lift the chin out. Press the chest. Once more in breath, lift the chin. Out breath, stretch the head back. In breath, lift the head. Lift the chin out, press the chest. On the in breath, lift the chin up level. Relax. Feeling the body, the outline of the body. The awareness is like your own inbuilt, the mind's own inbuilt video camera. You learn to understand what awareness is or control the awareness. It's like videotape the body standing there inside. You hear sounds coming and going in the background. You can notice thoughts coming and going in the back of the mind. That's what we call the beginning of real awareness. Centered, grounded, breathing body. Not far away, quarter of an inch beneath your nose. The brave new world. This body awareness. Okay, so having done that little session of breathing and movements, how many of you during that time or in between could feel what I was talking about? What kind of increased sensation? What was that? So again, that was basically just the activation of the cells vibrating more, interacting, and producing sensation. Whenever you feel the body, that's the only thing you feel. You think you feel a body, but actually what you feel is just sensations from the nervous system. And if the body is, stiff, and your breathing is slow, then the body is like half dead. It doesn't have a lot of feel. A lot of time I ask people, feel the body. What? I can't feel the body. What? I can't feel the body. 100 or more pounds of flesh. I can't feel it. Okay. So anyway, so now we're going to sit down and see if we can try to maintain that awareness a little bit. And we practice sitting. Now, one of the most important aspects of the sitting position is being able to hold the spine straight, the head with the head balanced on top of the spinal column, because it's there. The spinal column is the most important group of bones in your whole body, and meditation happens between the brain and the spinal column. Really, that's really where meditation happens, because all the sensory data of the world come through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, even mind, and all those initial vibrations pass through the nervous system, which are located along the spine and lead to the brain where you register consciousness. So try to hold the chin level with the floor, and that's why attention to the posture is equally important to the breathing, why we try to do both of them together. So again, just gently close your eyes. Try to feel the head balanced on top. And from that point on the eyes, we did in the yogas, try to feel the outline of the sitting body. First, feel your head on top, feel some sensations on your face. Try to feel that outline of the body. Just remind yourself sitting, sitting, sitting. sitting, turn on the video camera of awareness. Video of the sitting body, head on top, arms at the sides, feet tucked underneath, buttocks pressing the seat, clothing touching the skin, any or all of those will work. And then again begin some deep, slow breathing in the middle of that body outline. Try to feel the breathing. Focus on the breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to feel the expansion of the abdomen, rib cage, and chest, holding the air in 1 or 2 seconds. Feel the pause. And slowly let out the breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the mouth. Just take several more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to count the breaths from 1 to 10. Try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that. Your breathing and concentration. On the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Feel the brief pause. With the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feeling the last bit of air go out. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. in 8, out 8, in 9, out 9, in 10, out 10. If you're tired of doing that breathing, you can let the breathing return to its own lesser, shorter rhythm, irregular rhythm. Now try to count the breaths again by yourself. See if you can count the breaths by yourself without the mind getting lost. You count up to 10 breaths. You get lost in between somewhere and remember where you were. Start the counting again into 1. It becomes a challenge not to notice the counting. Going to sleep or lost in thought. If you're able to make it to 10 without getting lost, just continue the counting discontinue the counting anyway. Continue to feel and observe the breathing without counting. Just keep the attention focused and expanding and contracting movement. The abdomen, stomach, chest. And feel where the clothing rubs against the skin. Stomach, ribcage, and chest. Feel the sensation. Helps keep the mind awake. And just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling a subtle, raw sensation. And tune into the 4 phases of each breath cycle. And expanding in breath at the brief pause. The contracting out breath at the brief pause. Over and over and over again. Help remember, you can use these brief mental reminders. In, sitting, out, sitting. The ongoing, continuous, present moment. The sitting, breathing body. You can try to hold that outline, the body in the mind's eye, the breathing going on in the center. In, sitting, out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. At the same time, be alert for thoughts that sneak up into the mind, steal your attention away. You get carried away in thoughts, recognize it as thinking. Gently let go of the thought. Take a deep, slow breath, bring the mind back into the body. Back to in, sit, out, sit, in. Try to feel like a scientist sitting in the laboratory looking down to the microscope, observing the experiment of breathing. And notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel it more in the abdomen, sometimes you feel it in the rib cage, chest, or even in the nostril. It's always changing. Noticing the changes keeps the mind concentrated, awake. Keeps it alert when thoughts try to sneak in. In the pauses between the breaths, correct the posture, lift the chin up if it's drooping downward, if the spine is slouching, straightening up the spine to allow for optimal awareness, alertness. Anytime the mind gets drowsy or too many thoughts, come back and take a few deep, slow breaths. Help stay awake in the body. Keep the blood charged up with oxygen. In, sitting. Out, out, sitting. This body is the mind's natural anchor to the present moment. We lose that connection to the present moment. The mind easily falls asleep, lost in past and future thoughts, distracted by pain. dukkha patacani dukkha bhaya patacani bhaya sukha patacani sukha untu sabbe pipa. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now mindfully place your hands at the edge of your knees and take in one more deep, slow breath. As you're breathing in, pull your hands on the knees to arch your spine backwards. Look up at the ceiling. On the in-breath, lift the head up. On an out-breath, press the chin, notch at the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae. And lift the chin up level on an out-breath, or on an in-breath. And relax on the out-breath. But keep feeling the body. Don't let your mind rush to the future. Feel that pleasant sensations of the body. Whatever the peacefulness the mind might have gotten. Okay, now just slowly unfold and stretch out your legs to relieve any discomfort from sitting longer. Feel the relief of discomfort with the changing sensation. If your feet have gone to sleep, wiggle your toes a few times to get the circulation to come back into legs or feet. Then slowly, mindfully, kind of stand up. Before doing anything else, just stand up straight. Steady the standing position. Relax the arms at the side. Try to feel the outline of the standing body. And take a deep, slow breath. Feel that expansion of the lungs. Just hold the air in the lungs a couple of seconds. Feel the present moment of the body. And let out the breath. Feel that relaxation of the outgoing breath. Take a couple more breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, standing. Breathing out, and feel that vibration in your body and mind. Vibration of present moment awareness. Okay, friends. So, brings our first evening to an end. And how many of you were able to have a few moments of some peacefulness or centeredness, kind of this feeling, the breathing body? So, whatever you're going to do tonight, if you're going to go back home, you're going to staying in a hotel or staying here, try to keep whatever, any pleasant sensations or some peacefulness with you by not getting distracted by, watching TV or searching the internet or talking to others too much, try to take that sensation with you. You go to sleep, and then I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.